In section 4.1, we are going to review the coordinate system. And this is all stuff that should be familiar to you, so we're going to just start off with a few definitions. The first one is a coordinate system is a system that contains two intersecting number lines called axes. So a coordinate system is going to be all your graphs with the x, y axes, like this. Our second definition, we have our vertical number line is called the y-axis. Our y-axis is going up and down, and the horizontal number line is called the x-axis. On our coordinate plane, each specific location is called an ordered pair. Or also called a point. So our point is made up of an x-coordinate and our y-coordinate. X always goes first, and then y is second. If you can't remember that, remember it's in alphabetical order. X comes before y. And then our last definition is the point at where the two axes intersect is called the origin. And our origin is located at the ordered pair 0, 0. So if we look back up at our graph up here, our origin right here is this red dot. It is 0, 0. That's our ordered pair for the origin. Okay, so then moving down, if we were to graph the following ordered pairs on the coordinate plane, we are going to start with A, and we see our x value is 2. So we're going to count over 1, 2. And then our y value is 3, so we're going to count up 1, 2, 3. And this would be our point A right here. So it's important to always start at our origin in the middle. And when we are going positive in the x direction, we're going to the right. When we're going positive in the y direction, we're going up. And that is how we get to point A right there. For point B, our x is negative this time. So when we start at the origin, we're going to go over negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then our y is positive, so we're going to go up 1. And that is our point B right here. Point C, our x value is 0. So that means we're going to stay right here at 0 for our x. We're not moving left or right. We stay right on the y-axis line. Our y is 3. So again, plus 3 means we're going to go up 1, 2, 3. And our point 0, 3 is right here at C. Point D, we have a positive x again, so that means we're going right 3, 1, 2, 3. And this time we have a negative y. So if we're going a negative y, that means we're going to move down instead of up. So we go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And this point right here is our point D. And then our last point here, we have a negative 2, 0. Negative 2 on our x direction means we're going to go left 1, 2. And 0 in the y means we're not moving up or down. So we're going to stay right here on the x-axis, and this is our point E here. So your final graph will look like this without all these lines on it. Those lines are just to help us graph our points, but you do not need to draw those lines. These are our final points right here, A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so now, once we have our points already graphed and we want to come up with our ordered pair, we are going to first draw a parenthesis. Our ordered pair always is in 2 parentheses. We're going to look for point I. So I find point I right up here on my graph. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start at my origin and see which way I need to go to get to that I. So if I start in my x direction, I'm going to need to go over 1, 2 to get to that line where I is on. So that I know my x value is going to be 2. And then from here, I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3. And that gets me right to my point I. So that means my y, I'm going up 3, so it's going to be a positive 3. For point J, I'm starting at my origin. This time to get over to J, I need to go left 1, 2. And if I'm going left, that means it's going to be a negative x value, negative 2. And then my y, I'm going down this time. I go down 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to J. So I have a negative 4 since I'm going down to get to J. See K, so over here, I'm always starting at my origin, and I need to go right 1, 2, 3. If I'm going right 3, that is my positive x direction. So I have a positive 3, and then I'm going down 1. If I'm going down, I know it's negative y. My y is a negative 1. The last point it asks for is point L. So if I start at my origin, to get to L, I need to go left 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I'm going left, I know that is a negative 4. And I'm already at my point L, so I don't need to go up or down at all to get to L. So that means my y is just going to be 0. Okay, so our next piece down here says that our coordinate plane is divided by the axes into 4 sections, and we call those sections our quadrants. And we have our 4 quadrants here to the right, and our first quadrant is going to be right here. This is our quadrant where our x and y are both positive. We have a positive x, y. Our second quadrant right here, we are always going in a counterclockwise direction to label our quadrants. And these numbers here, they're called Roman numerals. That's how we number our quadrants. Our quadrant 2, you can see to get to quadrant 2, we would need to go a negative x direction and a positive y direction. So that is how we get to quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 here is going to be my negative x and my negative y. And then my last quadrant, quadrant 4, it's an IV right there. That's what that Roman numeral 4 looks like. To get to quadrant 4, I need to go right, which is my positive x, and then down, which is my negative y. So now that we know which quadrant is which, we can determine which quadrant each ordered pair is located in. So if we look at A here, we have point 2, 4. My x is positive and my y is positive. If I have a positive x, positive y, that means I am quadrant 1. Okay, so see right here we have positive x and positive y, so that gives me quadrant 1. For B, I have a negative x and a negative y. If I look for a negative x, negative y, I see that right here. In order to get to a negative 5 and a negative 3, that's going to end up in quadrant 3. For C, I have a negative x and a positive y. A negative x and a positive y is right here in quadrant 2. D, I have a positive x and a negative y, and my positive x, negative y is right here in quadrant 4. here for E, I have a 0 and a 4. If my x is 0, that means I'm not moving left or right. I'm going to stay right in the middle, and then I'm going to go up 4. So if I go up 4, I'm going to be on this axis right here. And that axis is going to be my y-axis. Okay, for F, this says my x is less than 0. So if my x is less than 0, that means I'm going this way, my negative x's, and my y is less than 0. So that means I'm going this way, my negative y's. So that leaves me in quadrant 3. Okay, I'm just going to erase these arrows here. And then G, my x is greater than 0 this time. So I'm just going to draw this one here. These are my x and my y-axis. My x is greater than 0, so I'm going this way. And my y is greater than 0, so I'm going this way. That brings me to quadrant 1. For H, my x is less than 0, so I'm going negative again. But this time my y is greater than 0, so that is going up. That brings me to quadrant 2. And then finally, if I have my x equals 0 and my y equals 0, that is going to put me right in the center, and that point is called my origin.